was going to do it. I was going to get caught up letting it play. Everybody, welcome to a special episode of the Straub Bros Sports Show, the first edition of Footy Fridays.
Woo!
Yes, little bro. How you? I can't even ask you how you feel. I literally have talked to you nonstop since we got done with last night's pod. But tell the people how you feeling.
Dude, listen, it's good. Like I said yesterday, it was 60. It's 65 today. I'm wearing shorts right now.
Beautiful.
It's Friday night. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to talk some soccer.
Let's go. As I said, it is our first edition of Footy Friday. We always give you that soccer. We always give you that footy. We always break that down for you on our normal pod. But you know what? With the Super Bowl and as big as college football has been, it would have been an injustice to any of the sports if we tried to squeeze that all in. So we decided to do something that, I'll be honest, I am very, 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 very proud. Because when we started this show, the original idea that I had was that we were going to do a Sports Center-like show where we go through all of the sports and we hit some stuff, but I wanted to do major sports in terms of football, college, and regular, and basketball. And I wanted us to do a special Friday football show or just a soccer only show. We didn't do that because we haven't had the time, but this is my baby. This is something that I have birthed since I have started it. This is the first thing that I have created within the 216 Sports Network after my own show. So the Straub Bros Sports Show has birthed Footy Fridays. So welcome in. Before we get going, I should say, don't forget about everybody else on the 216 Sports Network, 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth, the J Rich Show for your NBA Cavaliers in charge needs. The Rulers Minute with Rico McGee, where my guy Rico hits everything around the world of sports. Outside Interference for your local Ohio wrestling fans. And of course, while you're here right now, the Straub Bros Sports Show, where me and this guy give you everything that you need around sports and the college, big time there, and the footy. But today is the special footy because it's footy only. There we go. Thanks, Pops. Footy Fridays. Yeah,
as excited as we are.
We are going to drive this one home. Okay, so before we get going on that, we do have some non-footy related news that we have to talk about, and that would be Joe Flacco taking my $5 bet and turning it into a free $50 for me to spend on the Super Bowl as he won Comeback Player of the Year. Thank you, Joe. Your Cleveland Browns absolutely cleaned up on the awards. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I've made the joke that we won every award other than Lombardi this year. It was a good year for us. And we've talked about it, how we wanted to enjoy this season because of how many, ups and downs we've had and made it as far as we did. But I don't know. I guess for me, the guys are probably, ecstatic that they got that award. But I don't know. I guess
empty.
It's a little empty because you're just like, I would have traded all those awards in for like another round in the playoffs.
100%.
Because just, you're just like, oh, well, congratulations, guys. But, it didn't really lead to anything. But also I, am not the one getting those awards. So I can't be too harsh because those guys were great at what they did this year, except for one game.
Absolutely. Congratulations. And like I said, all of those guys would trade that for one more round as well. But there you go. Also, Ohio State has hired Chip Kelly. We are going to break that down in depth, okay, as we get closer to the college football season. I will say this. I'll repeat what I said on Facebook. I actually really like the hire. It was a better hire than Mitt O'Brien. I was very critical of the Mitt O'Brien, Bill O'Brien hire for Ohio State. I think that's a good hire. I think it'll work out well. I really like Chip Kelly. I think Chip Kelly is a good offensive coordinator. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. I think he's an okay to good head coach. So I think he's going to end up where he belongs. And I think we're going to turn into like oh, wow, should he get another big head coaching job because he's going to do so well? But it's time for the footy. So let's get into, just the same way we do it any other time, the footy news. And I have a funny one because something that started as news, Straub, is no longer news. and that would be blue cards are going to be tested. Sending a player out for a 10-minute spell, 2 blue cards would equal a red card. And then they stopped and they said what all of us were going to say. Fine, because I just coughed. And what a horrible idea that is. It is absolutely awful. Keep it for indoor. It's there for a reason. It actually does make sense in the game of indoor. It doesn't diminish it in any way. It's perfect for that game, but leave it there. This was dumb. And they realized it and they PR tested it and it got everything that it was supposed to get, which was an absolute F rating and an awful Q score, whatever they might be looking for. And they rolled it back.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a weird thing to look at, especially because they promoted it as a way to stop players from getting tactical yellow cards. Basically, taking a guy out knowing he's going to get carded, but it doesn't mean anything because it's late in the game. This is kind of an equalizer in their minds, but it wouldn't have stopped because if a guy's running on a fast break down the field, you're gonna foul him regardless because that is what's gonna be. So it wouldn't stop it.
Right,
Honestly,
10 minutes.
I was gonna say it would make it even more likely that they would do it because it's like I'd rather get a blue card and sit out for 10 minutes than get a yellow card accumulation into a red card later on down the year.
And things weren't explained. Like, what if I already have a yellow and I get a blue? Did he get rid of yellow cards?
Yeah.
They're so just magenta. Yeah, like what? And of course, like, awful. Thankfully, it was scrapped. Drew, you have some other news.
Yes. So, we'll start off with an interesting one. Kevin Sullivan. Now, many of you haven't heard this guy's name before. We haven't talked about it on the podcast at all, and that is because he is a 14-year-old. Some are calling him what they used to call me in high school, a wonder kid. He will join Philadelphia's second team, which, as other people I feel like people don't know, that is usually filled with about 17 to 23-year-olds looking to break into the first team. So a 14-year-old being on that squad is pretty impressive and showing that this kid has a lot of talent and is looking to kind of jump really quickly, more than your average U.S. Soccer player would.
I'm going to speak on him the same way that I spoke about the other kid from one of our first podcasts who was, I think, 13 or 14 and was making his debut. The Freddie Adu syndrome, just it happens all across Europe. 14-year-olds come along and they play in the first, or not first team, but, they have trained around the first team and stuff like that. So these things are not unprecedented, okay? They're not the craziest things in the world. Just here in America, I caution us, please just slow down. Just let's not. The kid doesn't need to be on Sports Center. The kid doesn't need to be doing interviews. He doesn't need to be on First Take. Like, let the kid play. Okay? So, but awesome. Great. Has he declared?
I think it's his only option. I'm pretty sure.
I'm just curious.
I haven't heard any other countries that have been for that. Awesome. So right now he is for us. I think he's in our youth system right now.
Lock it in.
We'll be okay.
2 years till the World Cup. He'll be 16.
Bring us 16. Good Lord.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like if you want to leave all possibilities open, we'll leave them all open then. But yeah.
I would say, unfortunately, the reason that all this hype's around the kid is because you look at other stars, like Beckham for England, Mbappe for France, Messi for Argentina, the countless number of Brazilian wonder kids that were like 16, 17 years old. And we are just clamoring for that first wonder kid that we put so much pressure on those kids and show even a little bit initially when they're that young that it does, the pressure just bogs them down and inevitably, tends to fail sometimes. And so we kind of just have to let him progress enough so that once he actually is good.
I'm going to steal a phrase from you from last night. Pump the brakes. That's what we're going to do. Pump the brakes. But salute to you, kid. Congratulations on busting your butt and your hard work I'm glad it was recognized in the American youth system. That is something that has not relatively happened very much. However, he's with the club, so the talent will be recognized above all. But I'm just saying, there's no nepotism here. This isn't anybody's kid. This isn't anybody's son. This isn't a junior. This isn't somebody's brother. And I'm not saying any of those guys aren't talented, but listen, so shout out to this kid for making a name for himself. Moving on. Any other news?
Yeah, so we usually do this at the end of a podcast, but we have some transfer news.
Yes.
Considering that the last week before our podcast was deadline day. And so we had a couple of Americans move, or almost move, as we'll get into, right before the deadline. First, Paxton Aronson, brother of American Brendan Aronson, has gone on loan from Eintracht Frankfurt to Vitesse, which is a club in the Eredivisie for the rest of the season. This is mostly due to Frankfurt exceeding expectations in the Bundesliga. Aronson being 20 years old, not really getting a lot of playing time at that so far. He would get a couple minutes here and there, but this is not just to get rid of him and to kind of get him because he's unhappy. This is to legit get him playing time. So when it comes in the summer, he is ready to challenge for more first team minutes. And so I do like this a lot.
Absolutely. This is a good thing. Like we're not mad at this at all. But yeah, they're exceeding expectations. They were supposed to be a mid-table team, possibly, a little further down, and they're not. So, hey, that's fine. Get our guys minutes. That's all I ever care about. I'm gonna have a different attitude as we get to kind of just do our main focus here on the soccer end. I'm gonna have a very common theme with any American players that we are talking about, unless they're especially the young ones. I just want them to have minutes. I want minutes. Okay. If you're in Europe, please play. If you're in the MLS, you need to start. That's how I feel about our young American players. So that's fine, Paxton. Go get some minutes. That's great.
I completely agree. The second bit of news is a little sucky, I think is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So we talked about it last week at the end of the show. Duncan McGuire, the American striker from Orlando City, was on his way to Blackburn Rovers on loan. However, I want to go through this transfer saga with you as it happens in real time. So before I had talked about it, Duncan was on a flight to England last Wednesday morning as there was a deal agreed. But while on the plane, Blackburn contacted Orlando and McGuire that they had to pull out of the deal. They really didn't give any specifics as to why. I don't know if it was money related or contract obligations or something along that line, but they had to pull out of the deal, so it was off. Then Thursday morning, out of nowhere, another deal between the teams was agreed upon, and it was right before the deadline, and so he was set to go. That's why we announced it on the podcast. The deadline closed, and we all assumed the deal was completed, but an error made by Blackburn with the paperwork being done at 10 p.m. but not being submitted to the league until 11 caused the deal to collapse again. Blackburn appealed this decision, met with the league board, but they have rejected the appeal, and he will play for Orlando at least until the summer when Blackburn intends to try and sign him again. We see this once a year where there is a clerical error or something where a guy doesn't get through. This actually happened to another American at deadline day last year with Conrad De La Fuente going to Hull City. He couldn't make it because due to a clerical error. Unfortunately, this happens once a year, and we see this, unfortunately, 2 years in a row. It's happened to an American.
Shame on you, Blackburn. Just like 100%. I hope it affects you. I hope it affects you negatively in the point. I mean, just get your business done. I would love, and we won't know for a while, or maybe someone will leak it. I would love to know what it was. Wage, an agent fee. Usually that's what this stuff comes down to. Somebody's agent or somebody's mom and dad not getting their 2% or 3% cut, or but that's awful. I feel bad for him. Any American that has the talent to then go abroad and take his talents there, I want to see him go there, especially in a place like England. If a team wants you there and wants to see what you got, I absolutely want him there. So that's a tough one.
Yeah, it sucks, but I will say the nice thing is they have made a statement that they fully plan to buy him in the summer when it opens again, and he will then get a full preseason to potentially get more minutes instead of coming in and kind of having to learn on the fly. So potentially some
until
good
he
come out of
accidentally
it.
has like 3 games in a row. Until he won it 3 games in a row or has a bad 3 games in a row, and then all of a sudden, we move on to someone else. You know how it goes. But
No, I
yeah,
get
thanks a lot, right? He just Bray wanted the other 2%. Thanks a lot, you jerk. All right. Any more news?
That is all I got.
All right. I've got no more. No mas from me. So let's get rolling into this thing. First things first, the FA Cup. Drew, I don't know where in this graphics you got stuff going on, so take control there. All right. Oh, League Cup replay. Whoops. Not
Well,
FA
FA Cup, same
FA
thing.
Okay.
My
You threw
fault.
me off there. That is, yeah, you did. You threw me off. FA Cup replay. As you see, we had some results. Championship side. Oh, you can't see some of them because I've got stuff in the way. Championship side, Southampton took out fellow championship side Watford 3-0. Coventry, also in the championship, took out fellow championship side Sheffield Wednesday 4-1. Championship side Leeds took out another championship side Plymouth Argyle. A lot of championship teams left here. Then Premier League side, finally, Nottingham Forest defeated championship side Bristol City, but that went to penalties 5-3. Yes, that was a close one.
Ooh, close.
And then championship side Chelsea beat Aston Villa. You knew that was coming. But then yes, Chelsea beat up Aston Villa 3-1. Obviously you're going to talk about your result, but anytime you have the score wrong on the Leeds game, so you threw me off. It was Leeds that won. But anytime Leeds wins is not a great thing for me, but that's all right. Coventry, okay. Forest, okay. Talk about yourself for a second.
Well, I do want to say, well, I'll start with my game. Yeah, so I wasn't confident going into this game at all. We had just lost 4-2 to Wolves over the weekend.
Oh, we'll get to that, baby.
And so it was looking very bleak. But like as with a young team, you come out and you look terrible, in the weekend, and then you come in the middle of the week and you look like a team that should be challenging for some sort of trophy, and that's exactly what we're doing. Aston Villa, just their defense looked pretty crappy. That's the best word I can to describe it. And we took advantage. We were up 3-0. We let it goal, but it really didn't mean anything. And it's a really good performance. And now we play Leeds next, which for those that don't know, the last time we played Leeds in the FA Cup was in the 1970s, and that led to the record that I'm pretty sure still holds for the most red cards in a single match in English soccer. And so it's always a fun game when those two teams play.
Let's go. I mean, it's not as heated as Leeds and United, but no, that's awesome. Love that. Love that for you. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, so there is your League Cup replay. I do want to mention the 5th round, the game he's talking about, and the others begins February 26th through 28th, and we will cover that fully here on the Straub Bros Sports Show because that's what we do. We cover that FA Cup. Yeah, bring the blood. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Bring the blood. Let's go. Okay, moving on. The Asian Cup. When we left off, we were in the quarterfinals. Yes. Like I said. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm navigating your stuff here. But the final is tomorrow, as you see on the screen. Jordan take on Qatar at 10 a.m. But let's kind of take a quick review back to how we got there. Heung-min Son won it with an amazing free kick for South Korea to take them to the semis as they beat Australia 2-1, where they were then dumped out in an upset, a huge upset by Jordan. An amazing story for them, but an absolute disaster for South Korea. How big of a disaster? Former United States men's national team coach and current South Korea head coach Jurgen Klinsmann, his first question asked in the press conference by the South Korean media was, "Will you resign?"
Which is something that the U.S. Media should definitely take notes of and, do more of, because I feel like we let our coaches off pretty easy. But
you're not lying there, buddy.
Yeah.
Also, on the other side, Qatar making up for some World Cup disappointment by beating Iran and making it to the finals as well. Qatar looking for their second Asian Cup. They won it in 2019. Jordan and Al Tamari are looking for their first trophy after making it to their first major tournament final. They haven't even qualified for the World Cup before.
Wow. That would be incredibly impressive. And
Absolutely.
all props to them, but honestly, it's a good game regardless because I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. If it was a South Korea and an Iran or a Japan and Jordan, you would actually like, okay, it's going to be like 3-4-0 at the minimum. This game, I think, is going to be pretty even both ways.
Absolutely. I agree with you there. So, like I said, that is at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Tune in to that. I love a good underdog. Yep. Listen, if you like a good underdog, look for that Jordan money. Literally, that Jordan money. All right. So, moving on to the next one. We've got it. Got it for you. The African Cup of Nations is going on as well. Their final is on Sunday at 3. Excuse me. Plenty of time before the Super Bowl starts for you to get in a little bit of footy before the football starts.
Yes.
As Nigeria take on the Ivory Coast as a rematch of a tight Group A matchup earlier on in the tournament. And we have some big talent all over this game. But before we do that, as you see, Nigeria took out Angola, South Africa on their way to the final. And Ivory Coast took out upstarts Mali, not upstarts, but tournament upstarts. And they took out the Democratic Republic of Congo, reaching back to my geography.
Yes.
But we have, listen, not that if you're looking for two big the huge underdog story, obviously that is Jordan and Qatar. If you're looking for kind of, wow, some really great European and Premier League and all over the place talent, look no further than this game. Ivory Coast, you got Sebastian Haller of Borussia Dortmund. All right, we already got some love for Borussia, so there's some love back. Yannick Kessie, and Jan Seri of Hull City. Okay, so Ivory Coast got some players, and then you look over to this Nigeria side.
Oh my God.
Yes, Victor Osimhen of Napoli, Ademola Lookman of Atalanta. Too many syllables rolling off the tongue there. You're right. Osai Samuel of Fenerbahce, Calvin Bassi of Fulham, Kalichi Iheanacho of Leicester City, Alexander Iwobi of Fulham. You get the picture. So if you're looking for your talent, listen, there is plenty of it to go around in this game right here on Sunday. You got it? I'm going with Nigeria.
Well, so both these teams are incredibly talented. I think there's two reasons why I'm going to pick the Ivory Coast, and both of them are, well, one's personal, one's with my head. One, Ivory Coast is home of Chelsea legend Didier Drogba. Yeah, so I will always do that. See, he gets it. Completely understand. But second, Ivory Coast, we know that history of being really good, but this year there are 16 teams that made obviously the round of 16. Duh. But Ivory Coast, in terms of rankings, was dead last. Fired their coach and then proceeded to run buckshot through this tournament. And so we've seen it time and time again that firing a coach gives teams sort of a boost. And to kind of see that kind of story kind of go all the way through where they were so low, they fired their coach and they're shooting up the rankings and shooting up through this tournament. I think it's a cool story to watch.
Absolutely cool story. There's no way in absolute bleep that I got all of those right, just for the record, right? But I'm glad you did.
Hey, I got DDA and I'm cool with that.
Yeah, of course you did. But no, it's a great story. Forget your story. Give me Jordan plus Nigeria. Give me the money lines. Put them together. Sprinkle that here. I'm back to. It's been a while since we've sprinkled in some parlays. Touch that and throw them in your Super Bowl parlay. Why not?
Oh my God.
But all right. So those are your international cups that we're going on right now. But let's get to why we're here. Let's get to these. Wrong side. There it is. Let's get to these right here. Jordan is retired. Thank you, Craig. I love you, Craig. Let's get to these.
Took up other ventures in soccer.
With your EPL review. And good. You got them in order how I got them. We'll start at the top. Everton get a last gasp Jared Braithwaite equalizer to steal points from Spurs and keep themselves somewhat alive in getting out of the
Yeah.
relegation. Brighton make us look silly, bro, and get back to winning ways. With a big
Yeah.
win, with a big win over Crystal Palace. And I'm just gonna throw it out there, and you can back me up here if you want. Things need to change at Crystal Palace, and they need to change immediately. United already rumored for a swap in on Mikel Elise. But
Yeah.
Mark, what is it? G? How do you? Is it G? Gui? Mark Gui?
Gahey.
And Eze. This could get ugly. Palace could get
Former
raided.
Chelsea player as well.
Palace could get raided very easily if they don't
A lot
turn
of
things
talent
around.
there.
They turn things around quickly. They're also, I want to point this out because I just talked about how Everton and they were there. Crystal Palace is 5 points above Everton in the relegation zone. They're not that far away.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No, they're not actually. So
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Still have a game in hand.
As you see that 4-4, that is an amazing one. I'm waiting for him to chime in because we're going to talk about it.
Yes.
The Newcastle Luton game was absolute scenes. It was absolutely amazing. And damn it, Luton cannot hang on. But we got to talk about it. It was 4-4, as you see there on the screen. Mr. Longstaff got it going with an early 7 and 23 minute double. I won't put it up if you won't. But Gabriel Osho would also break a goal up in between that to make it 2-1. But then Luton would make the run and score 2 to take the lead by not just a Carlton Morris goal that would push them ahead, but I want to make a special note of the equalizer brought to you as Luton were made level by Chelsea and Andrew Straub legend, nickname given by older brother me, and that is Big Boss Ross Barkley. I knew you would enjoy that.
Oh
But now, as we do that, and I mentioned that, then we're gonna do that. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I had
that's
to.
fair. No, that's fair. Very fair.
Elijah Adebayo would make it 4-2, and then Newcastle would rip back in and and remind everyone that they are Newcastle. Kieran Trippier, and Harvey Barnes would both go to score to make this thing 4-4.
Yeah, this was a great game. I threw it on. I was doing something on my computer, and I went, "Oh, you know what? Luton and Newcastle are on. I don't think any other game was on. I didn't think it was going to be that good." I threw it on my TV to my left here, and I'm just watching. I go, 1-0 Newcastle. And I go, oh, 1-1 Luton. Okay. 2-1 Newcastle. Oh, 2-2. Oh my God, it's 4-2. What is going on right now? I will give this credit to Sean here, Marzensky in the chat. They have scored, I think, the most goals in the Premier League since the new year, and they have played, I want to say, 3 out of the 4 top 4 teams so far in Manchester City, Arsenal, and I want to say Liverpool.
And look,
and that's
why they are sitting above Burnley. It's not Everton. Everton shouldn't really be there, but it's also why they're sitting above Burnley and Sheffield United in the relegation zone when they were sitting there right with them for majority of the year and got bounced back in it when Everton made a run, but their run has been more impressive.
Yeah, and so honestly, Luton Town have looked a completely different team since the start of the new year. They've looked more fluid. I think they realized that sitting back wasn't going to be the effective method because some teams can do it. They have a good defense. They can sit back and they're great points by. Luton have figured out that that's not going to be the case. It's not going to be able to happen. And so they are much more attacking out. And it's actually working when you have threats like Ross Barkley, who is older but is definitely Premier League capable of getting you goals and assists and stuff like that. So, shout out to Ross Barkley.
Threats and Big Boss Ross are just not 2 words that I would ever thought I would hear.
Listen, there was a run.
They love him there. They love him there.
Oh, listen,
and they should.
I loved him. There was a run he made when he was with us against Liverpool where he took it before half field, ran it all the way, and just pinged it in the bottom left corner. And I don't think I was ever as happy because that was an abysmal season, and that was the highlight of it. So shout out to Ross Barkley.
I just realized I rolled myself off of the screen because I just
Yeah.
was so tired
But
of it
shout out to
already.
Ross Barkley.
This Friday footy is going to be tough with us doing this back and forth. Let me tell you about this for Fernando Mejeda
Oh
ball
yeah.
where he won a game this one time. This is ridiculous. Moving on. Burnley 2, Fulham 2, a draw after Polina and Muñez would get Fulham way ahead, only for David Fofana to double to bring Burnley back for a much needed point, although it hasn't done a whole lot for him.
No.
Equalizer coming in stoppage time. A great game for Anton Robinson. More on that later from the guy sitting underneath me on the screen currently. Aston Villa, who buried Sheffield United back to the championship. Let's just get that out of the way now.
Yeah,
Thanks for
they just
coming
got a new
along.
head coach too.
Oh, did they just make a change? Who did they pick up? Who
Well,
did they
no,
finally grab?
I forget what his name is. But this was the
Oh
result
yeah, this was
immediately
his first game.
after,
That's my bad.
and I'm pretty sure he was the old Southampton coach, and that's
Yes.
exactly what happened to them his first game. And so things are not looking good right now. Is when you make a change and the results get worse. It's a lead scenario where they fired the American head coach and brought in somebody else, and the results got worse. And so this is a team, unfortunately, I think is destined to get relegated. I think they'll be the last place team, and it kind of sucks.
Yes, and just for the record, Ray, I was always right. I'll put that one up for just.
I know that's not true. Being your brother for 20 odd years, I know that's not true.
On the field, no, I was right. That's it. Like I said, this was a big game. Here, let me run through this real quick because this is fun. John McGinn, 12th minute. Ollie Watkins, 16th minute. Ollie. Goal. Leon Bailey, 20th minute. Yori Talisman, 30th minute. Alex Moreno, 47th minute. Yes. See you later. And like I said, I will throw that one up real quick because I can get to that one. I know where it is now. Thank you for coming, Sheffield United. Thanks for making it up to the Premier League. It's been great. We'll see you back in the championship next year. You can try again. Nope, I don't want to see your face that close up anymore. And let's go back there. Okay. Bournemouth and Forest draw 1-1. We'll move on after that. Manchester City dumped Brentford 3-1 after being down 1-0 after 21st minute after a Neil Maupay sighting. Hi, welcome back. And then Phil Foden did his best Taylor Booth impression. He did his best Taylor Booth impression and went for a 48th, 53rd, and 70th minute hat trick. Game blouses.
Yeah. I mean, kid's good. Unfortunately, you kind of see this coming with City. You know, they're hitting stride. They're doing what City does.
Of course. And, there's likely a decision to come down about Nottingham Forest and Everton's second charges against them for financial fair play while we still wait a year later for the 146 plus charges that Manchester City have not only been almost basically proven to be guilty of, but there's more that keep piling in and just nobody cares because also,
hot take. Phil Foden, overrated.
Ooh,
very
spicy.
Overrated.
Spicy. Not a great
good
take
against bad teams.
Not a great take, but spicy. I like
good
it
against bad teams.
Okay. So does Manchester United. So if you're gonna back me in the corner and almost make me jump off the cliff to not defend the Manchester City player. I can understand that. But yeah, he's also still like 23. So we've got some, but I get you. Very hyped, but he's an English player. English players get more hype.
Oh, yeah.
England, if you think we're dying in America for the next Michael Jordan, LeBron James, the next Tom Brady, roll that all into one over there. They're waiting for their next great English star. So Phil Foden got a lot of love very early on. And moving on to the big one, the big result there. No slander in my team. Listen,
this ain't your show.
This is going to be.
I can slander you all I want. This is my show. Get out of here.
There's going to be nothing but slandering about shitty city around here.
Exactly.
We can swear on Fridays. Sorry, Mom. Actually, I'm not sure Mom's here today. Love you, Mom. When you watch this back, Fridays are busy for Mom. Then we have the big one highlighted there. You see it. We were both wrong.
Yeah.
And pretty much. Liverpool won. Arsenal 3. Like I said, bro, we got this one wrong. Arsenal won a big game after December. I think that is the biggest takeaway. And as we said it, and it popped up, and we could play it because it's there, but I said it. We've got a title race. It
Yep.
showed up in the TikTok, and I'm bringing it back. We've got a title race. And in terms of talking about that title race, there it is. Liverpool sit atop. However, you see it. Manchester City with that game in hand would put them, if you can do math, 1 point up.
Yes. This game was good. I really think Liverpool kind of got they looked really tired. Like they looked like they weren't motivated for this game. There was an own goal for those that have saw it that was just terrible, awful miscommunication. And so honestly,
can we talk about it? Let's talk about it. This I want to talk about here. I want to throw these down for a second. I want to talk about this because this is something we can do on Friday Footy that we do not normally get during the week. So, if you don't know, I played in college. I played it as a center defender my entire life. And you know what? I appreciate you rocking with us for the time that you were with us, Ray. I appreciate it. Ray was with us all night last night, so no worries. I played center defender. It's what I did my entire life. I played some forward in college. You played goalie. I trained you to be a goalie. That's what you were. There was a huge miscommunication between the center defender and the goalie. Perfect for us to talk about. If you didn't see the play, ball goes over top. Virgil van Dijk is blocking off. He is waiting for his goalie, or not waiting for his goalie. He blocks off. He looks up and he sees his goalie sprinting off his line to come and get the ball. So Virgil van Dijk stops. Unfortunately, the ball is not going fast enough to get to the goalie. Virgil van Dijk is moved around by the offensive player. The offensive player gets a little dink of the ball. Ball is into the back of the net. Arsenal win the game. Timmy Howard was on the broadcast, and they asked him, of course, immediately because he is an ex-goalie, and he put the onus on the keeper to make the call. However, my problem with that is, and this was my thing, I was a center back. I was a captain. It was my job. I would sometimes overrule my goalie if there was any chance of something going wrong and I needed to make sure, and I actually wish Ray was here because Ray played goalie with me for a year. But at some point, if I think that they could go bad, I'm just going to clear it. I'll let you yell at me. We'll reset. I'm sorry. No goals. Virgil van Dijk should have just cleared that damn ball. If he clears the ball, we are not doing this. However, it is fair because the first thing that needs to be asked once the ball goes into that back, if he just clears it, I apologize. If he just clears it, they can have the argument. But the first thing I would have said to my keeper is the first thing I said to him when the goal went in. Why are you sprinting off your line to a ball that you can't get to?
yeah,
You can't do that to me. You keep your ass on that line unless you know you can come get that ball. Because once you come to get that ball, I am now not technically doing my job anymore. I'm trying to shield a guy off and hold him. And that is not something that it happens. I have to do it. It is part of the job, but it is not how I defend. I'll defend differently if I don't think you're coming to get that ball. Correct? Or am I, where do you see this from where do you see this from a goalie's perspective?
no, that's fair. Obviously, I honestly I think Tim Howard was always going to say that because you're always going to be tougher on people that played your position, so that's easy.
There.
I also can't. You also can't attribute this to inexperience because both Alisson Becker, the goalkeeper, and Virgil van Dijk, the center back, are veterans, like pure veterans, and
Champions
so
League, internationally.
It's not like one's like inexperienced and stuff like that. I honestly, I tend to lean towards the goalkeeper's fault just because one, he is the one that made that decision to come out.
Yes.
And two, in Virgil van Dijk's position, your back is, you are facing away from play. You are towards your own goal. You can't see everything that's behind you. The goalkeeper running out, he is seeing the entire field in front of him. And so that is, obviously, if Virgil van Dijk takes it into his own hands, that is one thing. However, as a goalkeeper that you have the better viewpoint on, you have the better idea of how this is going to come out.
You are the
have
catcher.
to
You are the
you have
catcher.
to
You can see the
know
whole
how
thing.
this works. You have to know how this
Yes.
works. You can allow Virgil to do his own thing and then go, I get what you mean, but I had the play there. You can't half like foot this and go, oh, maybe I can get in or not. You have to be like a veteran like that has the better viewpoint than your center back. You have to have the commons to know how this play works and communicate it effectively. And that's just not what happened. Virgil, I don't think he was incredibly wrong. He was following his veteran goalkeeper's decision. Maybe he shouldn't take it into his own hands. But when you have a tight-knit group like Liverpool, they, especially with Klopp, they demand that you trust your teammates, and that's how it works. And so you can't blame them too much, especially when Becker is as veteran status as he is.
Yes. So here, and this is my problem with this. What did I used to tell you? Everyone in front of you, we don't want anyone to make a mistake. When I was your coach, we don't want anyone to make a mistake. But if you make a mistake, it's a goal. You can't make mistakes. Well, that's a lot of pressure to put on a goalie. Yeah, tough cookies. Welcome to the life of being a keeper. That's what it is. You make a mistake, there is a change on the scoreboard. The game is won and lost with your mistakes. Yeah. You have to be you have to be perfect. But it is also why 10 guys are in front of you. Okay, 4 are there just to keep your butt safe, and there's usually at least two, potentially 4 more guys in front of there whose job it is to come back and help to make sure you're okay at all times. Okay? Yes. Because you're not supposed to do enough to make mistakes.
Exactly.
You made a mistake by charging off your line and making your center back think that you were coming to get that ball. So therefore, I put it on the keeper because your mistake cost the goal. Virgil van Dijk's mistake would have then allowed you to still come out and make a mistake or and make a save.
Yeah.
Or he clears it and you go, I had it. And he goes, I don't think you had it. And we move on. It's a throw in or it's a corner kick. We move on to the next play. So I'm going to side with most of my issue there being with the keeper doing that. But at the same time, Virgil van Dijk, who has been criticized for kind of some errors sometimes recently, cleared that ball. It's a lot of time on a Liverpool-Arsenal game.
Oh. I mean, it was the big game. It's unfortunate.
I know. I want to bring something fun back. I think I got rid of the old. Yeah, for you. For me too. I got it still. And that is our beloved United Blues. And that is because there was 2 games we missed in our EPL review. And that would be these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful jerseys that we're wearing right here. And we're going to talk about yours first. Chelsea 2, Wolves 4. Bro, give me your thoughts.
So, if we had done this before the FA Cup, I'd be a lot more pessimistic here. At this point, I'm pretty sure
this result was first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're doing what we've done in years past, where we know we're not close to making any sort of run to Europe. And so what we're doing is we are going, okay, all of our energy is going into the FA Cup and to the League Cup. Nothing matters in the league right now. And it sucks. It makes my weekends a lot more miserable. However, there are a lot of people on the internet, and I guarantee you they're just doing it for attention and clicks and stuff like that are calling for Mourinho Pochettino's head. And I get that we are a very high status club. We have a lot of, history with trophies and we have a certain expectation and stuff like that. But when you have a complete gutting like our team went through, and I'm not talking players, I'm talking coaching staff, I'm talking management, I'm talking your owner no longer allowed to put funds in the club because he was Russian when Russia started invading Ukraine. And you have to sell your team to a different owner, and all of that from top to bottom gets changed.
That is something that we've never talked about actually on the pod, but it's worth talking about. It wasn't what Manchester United is currently going through, where it was a sale that was okay. It was okay. It wanted to happen. Chelsea were forced, Abramovich was forced to sell the club. And an American owner came in and did American owner type things, which they do in the NFL and the NBA. I want my coach. I want my staff. Unfortunately, that doesn't work in football, but it was worth pointing out and
Yeah.
running that backstory.
And so that first year when he tried to make a lot of decisions, we suffered because of it, and you saw it and everything like that. However, this offseason, he hired a lot of people around him to make these decisions instead, and you can see that there is some growth here. But when you strip stuff down to the nuts and bolts, you have to allow a manager of that quality to work through these issues. Because
Mario Pochettino.
if you consistently have a just in and out rotating carousel of coaches coming in, you are never going to get back to where you were, because it's not like in the Roman Abramovich era where all we needed was a coach because the players were good, the coach just lost the locker room. These players need
and
to
you
be.
were pumping gazillions of dollars into
Well,
your
we're
starting,
still doing that.
your starting
But
11, but
yeah, but like you realize the talent of these players was at their peak level. You just needed a coach to manage them. And if you lost the locker room, it wasn't going to work. The talent is there, but it's not fully matured yet. And you need to have a coach that's able to work through those processes. 2 years down the line, or maybe a year and a half down the line, if Pochettino is in 7th place and these players are hitting 24, 25, and it's still not enough, that is fine. But right now, we need to see a plan through before we continue to just shuffle through coaches, because it's not going to work like it did in the past.
you're right. I have a couple things for you, and then I want to throw some questions at you about your team. Once again, another thing we're not normally really allowed to, or not able to do on the normal Straub Bros Sports Show, but Footy Friday, we can do it.
Yes.
I agree with you. I also think you agree that, and here I'll ask this in a form of a question, my point. You agree if he was not putting those people in charge of those decisions, he would have fired Pochettino by now. Correct?
That's
he
tough.
pulled the trigger on so many times last year. I can't believe that all of a sudden he changes that philosophy. I think finally somebody sat him down and was like, no, that's not how this works.
So firing Tuchel, our original coach, before when he came in, our owner came in, that was as soon as he started showing signs of failure, he was gone, because like you said, American owner things, wanting your head coach.
Thomas Tuchel, current German
Bayern Munich.
Or Bayern Munich. I apologize.
Coach.
Bayern Munich head coach.
Yes, and he said how much he loved his time in England. We still love him. Like, it was really hard to see him go.
You could argue he got fired and stumbled up, but okay.
Yeah, well, our owner wanted to put his stamp on like his thing. You saw that. We hired Graham Potter, which
I think the job was too big for him. I told you that when you hired him. I told you that when you hired him. I told you that when you were talking about hiring. I thought the job was too big for Graham Potter. Crystal Palace. The job is not too big for Graham Potter. Call him.
So I was going to say that, and also, unfortunately, he didn't fit the culture at Chelsea at the time, which that is, you had a lot of veteran guys that were ready, and Graham Potter, after every loss, was joking with the media and, kind of doing stuff. And that kind of mentality is okay at a Brighton, where you're like, yeah, we lost, but, we're in 4th, 5th place. We're happy to be there. That's not Chelsea. Do you
know what Graham Potter at Chelsea reminds me of? It reminds me of David Moyes at Manchester United. Sometimes you can be a good coach, but a job can be just too big for you. And I think the job was too big for both of those. I think it's a good matchup. And you've been talking for Chelsea for 5 minutes, so I have to just say Manchester United. I'm obligated.
No, but then you bring in Lampard out of literally he wasn't supposed to stay. We knew that. But that really was just.
But it went as bad as it could go.
Honestly, I don't think it would have gotten any worse it would have been the same if we kept Graham Potter. That was literally just a morale boost for the locker room. So that was fine. I think this was a much more thought out and deliberate hire in Pochettino.
Yes.
Pochettino also didn't want to take on that role last year, halfway through the season.
Which which I agreed was an amazing move by him. I am not
Oh yeah,
walking into your dumpster fire. I am not jumping along board your garbage, your flaming dumpster that is in a flood, riding past me. I'm not jumping on that.
right.
No, thank you.
So I think with the way that the other coaches were hired, you could see that coming. You saw the writing on the wall with Pochettino with such a deliberate, which could be due to the other people that he hired for this. But I think with just the deliberate research and thought that was put into this hire, I think that this was unless we are about to get relegated, that would be the only time that I think that we are so far off. Don't you put the graphic up there. Unless something tragic like that happened, there was no shot we were going to fire him in less than like 2 years.
And I
because
agree.
Look at Arteta, look at
Thank you. And that was the
stuff like
point that
that.
you kept talking because you continue to talk about Chelsea, and that's okay.
I love my
But
club.
that was one of the points I was going to make. Both of our clubs, and I'm going to get into a little bit of that when we switch over to the United part of the United Blues. Chelsea and United have stopped following the formula that they gave their other coaches and managers in the past, which the other big six clubs, and I know City has been a bit different, but the other two of those big six, Liverpool and Arsenal, they have done what teams should do. They stuck with a good quality manager and they let him grow his team into what it's supposed to be. Arsenal finished 7th. Okay. Arsenal finished out of the Champions League. Was it 2 years or was it 3 years in a row?
It was like 4 or 5.
It was awful. Okay. And they stuck with the plan. Manchester United, there's calls to fire Eric Ten Hag. I think that would be an awful idea. Stick with the plan. I think this can work. Chelsea, you hired a quality manager in Mauricio. I said it wrong the first time, so I apologize. Mauricio Pochettino. Mauricio Pochettino. He never got any money and any funding baggage at Tottenham, and he still took Spurs. They were a very talented Spurs team, but he still took them right to close to a title and to a Champions League final. Okay,
yeah.
So
shout out to 2016 Leicester City, by the way.
Yes, there you go. So stay the course, Chelsea, and I think you will be okay. Let's keep it
honestly,
going.
I was gonna say, honestly, a trophy this year, FA Cup, League Cup, is a success in my book.
Yeah, 100%. I understand that. Let's switch over to the United side. Manchester United 3, West Ham 0. The complete beat them down. Complete control. However, that is the worst.
Good.
Yeah, and until I'll get back to the good stuff. I'm gonna get depressing first. Lisandro Martinez is hurt again. This is devastating. He is out 6 to 8 weeks. I'm devastated for him. I feel awful and gutted for the World Cup winner because he has worked his butt off and very hard to get back to this team. But honestly, from a team perspective, this is awful. This is awful. We have been yo-yoing between 5th and 6th, excuse me, and 8th and 9th. We currently sit, because of our win, in that 6th position. I know we're a little bit far off from 5th, but we flirted very much with it throughout the beginning of the year. We go up and we stay up when he is healthy. We dip down and we show only flashes of being a quality defensive team when he is hurt. So yeah, this sucks. I don't know.
Can I give a piece of advice?
What?
Unless you are close to a Europe spot when he comes back,
don't play.
Shut him down. Shut him down.
I know.
Because it's gonna keep it's a muscle injury. It's gonna keep happening. You gotta shut him down.
It was a sprained ligament. Thankfully, it wasn't the ACL, which is what he messed up. But no, there needs to be some shut him down unless we are dying and we are very close to that fourth position. Yeah. If it's Champions League on the line, I understand it. But other than that, no. Okay. Now let's undepress. We looked great. We looked amazing offensively, and that was because of the youngins. My youngins provided me the new background photo that would be somewhere computer. I'm not 100% sure what's going to go. When Alejandro Garnacho scored one of his 2 goals, sat up on the sideboard, gave this one in a direct retaliation to an absolute bum named Angel Di Maria, who criticized Alejandro Garnacho and said of his fellow Argentinian teammate that he should celebrate like Messi and not like Ronaldo, because there is this made up fallacy that Messi doesn't celebrate, which is absolute garbage. It just so happens that Cristiano Ronaldo's celebrations are iconic. He does them all the time. He markets them, so they became more famous. Alejandro Garnacho has a knack for celebrating like his idol Cristiano Ronaldo, and Alejandro Garnacho responded by doing that, and then also completing the picture by being joined by fellow 20-year-olds, although Kobe, I think, is 19, and Rasmus Højlund just turned 21. The three of them sat together. The future is so bleeping bright for my team, but go ahead and respond to the Garnacho stuff. I know you want.
I want to say that real quick. And like, I think Di Maria has to kind of.
For the record, Angel Di Maria is not a bum. He was a bum when he played for Manchester United.
He was still pretty good. If I'm being not a bum, but okay. But also, I think he also needs to eat some perspective here, because you are going to obviously lean towards Messi because, one, you play with the dude on your national team all the time.
He played with Cristiano Ronaldo at Real Madrid, but he didn't. I know. But he won a World Cup. He won a World Cup, and that trumps all. And I understand that. But
and it's like also like also like the stupidest thing is for players to, because he sounds like a fan with 300 followers on Twitter, where a dude celebrates a goal and the second comment down is Ronaldo better or Messi better, where it adds nothing to any sort of discussion and makes you sound like an idiot.
And
because it makes no sense. Like, they are both amazing. To have them as your idol and to celebrate with them after scoring a goal that he played on should have no impact whatsoever on you.
100%. Here's the other thing, and I'm big on this. I'm not, well, sometimes I'm here to tell you to get off my lawn, okay? What I am never, ever here for are older players telling young players to not celebrate. Bleep you. Number one, bleep you.
Dumb.
I don't care what sport it is. But here's the one thing, especially about soccer. They have celebrated since the history and inception of this game.
Yeah.
So no player, no Angel Di Maria, Wayne Rooney, no Pele, no Beckenbauer, none of these guys ever have a right to tell a player to not celebrate, because there isn't a single one of them that doesn't celebrate their goals. So I just don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
I'm not here for an Angel Di Maria. You sound sorry because your career is pretty much over at this point, or will be very soon. And a young winger who is probably going to end up being more talented than you is going to take your spot in the Argentinian national team. Alejandro Garnacho, he is here to stay.
Fired.
Yeah, and landed. Boom. Okay. Yeah, I'll hit the celebration myself. But seeing Rasmus Højlund, who got his goal on his 21st birthday, and Kobe Mainoo all together, an amazing picture. I just spit on myself. I apologize. It's disgusting. The future is bright for Manchester United. So I'm going to be honest on that. Okay. James Radcliffe, Sir James Radcliffe. I apologize.
He's
just bought. See, that's perfect. Thank you. I'm going to go back to that. Get off my lawn unless you're celebrating. Then rock on.
That's such a dad quote. That is such a dad quote.
Right. There's James Radcliffe, Jim Radcliffe, bought into the club. He's bought a share in Manchester United. Hopefully he forces the Glazers out here soon. But money will be pumped in. There's already being changes in the terms of the sporting directors and things like that. People are being hired and put in the right places. Finally, we were blessed at Manchester United to have the greatest manager of all time, okay, who was very much involved sometimes with buying of players and making guys leave and stuff like that. He was very much a very strong character. And what Manchester United has tried to do since he's retired is replace that strong character and give the next guy that same strong character's power. And they finally got their brains together and said, that doesn't work. And they stopped.
He's one of a kind.
The only thing that will bite Ten Hag, and I did want to point out because I thought it was funny that we were both Adidas and Nike separated too this year as well with our jerseys. Eric Ten Hag has said in one of his requirements for signing on to originally be the Manchester United coach was he wanted a say in transfers. One of the smartest things that big clubs don't do is allow their manager to have final say in transfers. One of your biggest, I guess, examples was Manchester City wanted to buy someone else, and instead the sporting director decided to buy a guy by the name of Raheem Mahrez. How'd that work out for Manchester City? There was a guy in Liverpool who's been on the record, Jurgen Klopp, and saying he did not want Mohamed Salah.
I mean,
how has
listen,
that worked out?
If we're being completely honest, think of Salah before Liverpool.
It doesn't matter. Sometimes you need to overrule your coach for the betterment of the team and the system down the line. Eric Ten Hag apparently has had meetings, and in the first original meeting, he put his foot down and said, I still want it. And he was flat out told, no. And now I think as the year has gone on, I think that it's gotten better. Now, I still agree and believe in Ten Hag. I do. But the leash is now very short. The button is clicked. You cannot go anywhere else. You are locked in. This is what you have. It's not retractable anymore. So if he stumbles, names like Graham Potter, who I think would not be a good hire. I think the job is too big for him. There is another free agent manager who is very, very much available, and he was linked with his former club, Chelsea, already, and that would be the icon, the GOAT, the person, and I think the special one, and I can easly say this, in terms of when me and you send each other soccer memes and videos, no one's picture is involved more than this man's, and that would be the special one, Jose Mourinho.
I love Jose so much.
Do too.
That man has a special place in my heart.
Yeah. Three Champions Leagues, more than all the other managers. And this will be good because this will be a way to get it started. I originally said on our show when we did the footy that I wanted to do a Zlatan quote of the week. Like there needs to be an altar because they're just amazing. Okay. You are regular humans and I am a lion. Lions heal faster than men and I am a lion. Like Zlatan is the best.
So good.
The only other one who rivals that is Jose Mourinho. So I think we're going to start doing a Jose Mourinho Zlatan quote of the week. We will try to get that rolling.
To give I guess a snippet of the craziness of Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho was red carded on a game and was not able to be in the locker room or not allowed. And so for the next game. And so what he did was a couple hours before the game, he got one of the staff at the stadium to put him in a laundry basket, fill it with clothes, and wheel him into the locker room, where then he got out, gave his team a talk, and then went back in and got rolled back out. And nothing was ever done.
Because he's Jose. Jose, an amazing managerial career, winning the Champions League with Porto. If you're a fan of modern soccer, that alone is amazing. He dumped Manchester United out. I mean, there's a famous scene of him running up and down the touchline. Then he moved. Yes, he's been everywhere. He's won at Inter. He has won at Chelsea. He's won at Real Madrid, and he turned Roma into a real team, real winner.
Their first trophy, I think, in like 10, 15 years.
He was beloved. They showered him with praise and love on his way out, even when he was fired or he left. Great quotes. One time he was asked in an interview about his very, very big rival at Arsenal at the time, manager Arsene Wenger. And he said Arsene Wenger was a specialist in failure. So I mean, Jose is gold. When Jose, the 3 comment was from when he was coach of Manchester United. Jose was such a good manager when he was a manager at Chelsea. I didn't hate him because he's just amazing. Then when he coached Manchester United, He was disrespected by a pundit, and he said, "No, I have won 3 premierships, more than any managers of combined in the Premier League at the time." He said, "You put respect." He went full Birdman, put respect on my name. It's amazing. So yeah, I'll do it. I do it. I know I just said stick with Ten Hag, but it doesn't
How
take me
about
long to get sold on Manchester United.
right there?
The United States men's national team.
How about that?
Don't do that. I can't, because you're gonna like. And what if one time LeBron and Michael Jordan and Kobe and Magic Johnson and Wilt Chamberlain and Shaq all played for the Cavaliers? Like, what would that be like? Oh yeah, it'd be so awesome, bro.
2 of them did play for the Cavaliers,
Yeah,
in LeBron and Shaq at the same time.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, come on, dude. Like, what if all of a sudden Manchester United decide that they were just going to buy Mbappe and Messi and Ronaldo and De Bruyne?
There's a quote that he said he wants to coach in the US at some point. Just saying.
He wants to go to LA and coach LAFC and sit on a beach. He doesn't want to coach our national team. But Jose, just for the record, as you see, I still have it underneath here. We're not there yet. If you would like to coach the United States men's national team, me and Drew would do whatever we can.
I got $20.
I got 5 on it. There's all about I can do for you, Jose. But we'll have you on the Straub Bros Sports Show. We'll
show you a good time around Cincinnati
and Cleveland. And we'll do what we do for you, the special one. So yeah, that would. Oh, I hate you. So yeah, that is your United Blues. I don't know what else to say.
We've talked enough about our clubs.
That is fine. All right. Moving on to your EPL preview. Yes, the Premier League is back this weekend. I know there is a big game to talk about. We already talked about that one on Thursday. So let's talk about these ones. Everton at Manchester City. If there was ever a time for Everton to kind of reach back and find that really, really good form and derail the absolute title race into chaos. Come on. I know.
It's not happening.
Bournemouth and Fulham, who cares?
Well,
I know.
Hold on. We've been looking at it. Obviously, Anthony Robinson and Tim Ream are at Fulham. However, for these next couple weeks, it is possible we will see a return of United States men's national team center defensive midfielder Tyler Adam, who signed for Bournemouth in the beginning of the year, but due to an injury has not been able to play, but is projected to return within the next couple weeks. So I have him started there as a reminder to watch out and see if he gets some minutes.
Absolutely. If you follow, and this is 100% on me, bro. I went full Friday Footy and I didn't do the correct things. If you follow us on X/Twitter, formerly Twitter, as you should, at Straub Bros Sports, we will be tweeting out if Tyler Adams makes an appearance this weekend. So follow it. Keep your alerts handy. We are on American watch. Burnley, we'll move on. Burnley at Liverpool. Burnley, good luck. We will probably see you in the championship after that result. Sheffield United at Luton Town. A big game here. Big game here in terms of bottom clubs. These 3 points are massive. I don't know if Luton, in the form they are, even remotely will give Sheffield United a chance to really play.
And they're at home.
Right, and they're at home. So, and we've already talked to you many times about how great that Luton Town atmosphere is. A big one there, Brighton and Tottenham. Spurs.
Please, Brighton.
Right, please. Hey, listen, you're not the only one. I mean, I can throw this one up real quick if I could scroll down. You're not the only one who needs Spurs to kind of continue to put there. Okay, I'm a good little bit of ways there. But yes, as we were talking about, wrong one. There we go. Spurs, be Spursing. Brighton coming off a big win, but not everybody gets to play Crystal Palace every week. That would be yours. Brentford at Wolves. That should be a good game. Wolves in form. They had a good game against me, but I came back. They beat you up, and then now they get Brentford.
It'll be a game. I think it will definitely be a game that is played this weekend. I think two teams with 11 players will go onto the field, and one of 3 results will happen.
That's the best. That is the best analysis you've ever given. I do want to point out, it is good to point out, Brentford striker Ivan Toney, who has been on fire, or not on fire, but he's been in some decent form since his return from a betting suspension. He will be bought this upcoming week or this upcoming off season. Brentford have pretty much confirmed it. And the big clubs are calling. Arsenal are in, Chelsea are in, Manchester United are in. So
They are asking for so much money.
Manchester United have already said we will not getting a bidding award because it's already looking like 100 mil, and we are not paying
Plus.
that for Ivan Toney. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's like I know we say the top clubs are in, but I highly doubt that somebody is going to pay that much for Ivan Toney unless they overpay and everyone's going to call them stupid
Go
because
ahead.
that is
Listen,
terrible.
go ahead. Go ahead, Arsenal. Make them a gunner. We know you want to. Go
Sure.
ahead. Don't even
Why
care.
not?
Newcastle take on up and down Nottingham Forest as Newcastle look to rebound with a very, 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 very much needed 3 points. And I said very many times so I could get back over real quick. As Newcastle sit ninth, this is a team that was playing Champions League football, and they now sit in ninth. Okay, that's not good for a team that was supposed to continue this Champions League and league success, so they continue to make sense of the pumping in of the mass amount of money that has been pumped into that team so far.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
mean,
Pops,
yeah,
where you at on your Newcastle now?
yeah, I mean, Aston Villa has kind of done what we thought Newcastle was going to do because
Yes,
Newcastle stayed fifth in the league and then now is in fourth place and kind of challenging for that, top three, top two spot. And so
yes,
Newcastle, I think honestly, they got beat up in the Champions League. They got beat up with all those things. They weren't ready for five different cups and league play and everything like that. So give them a year. They're going to spend an absurd amount of money in this offseason and they are going to be back. It's been a rough, couple months for them.
Champions League football is tough, and it takes an absolute toll on your squad. And there is a
Yes.
reason that most of the times that when you see a squad sneak into the Champions League for the first time, a Leicester City, the way the way Newcastle did, it's not uncommon for them the next year to then struggle in both competitions. Leicester
Yeah.
City struggled in the league and in the Champions League, but they also were starting to lose players. And Newcastle, same example, not losing anyone, adding players, but still just the toll it is taken. But yeah, I think they'll be back. I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll pump another gazillion dollars in this summer, and they'll go. But they're going to lose some players due to financial fair play. I was reading in Bruno Jimenez is rumored to be one of the guys who might be going, and that would
Yeah.
be a huge blow to that midfield. But yeah, I still think Newcastle bounced back very easily in this game this weekend.
Yeah.
I think
See
Nottingham
some
Forest will put up
Americans
a
though.
game. Yes, and yes, we will see some Americans fresh off his penalty saves. Mr. Matt Turner, more on that to come later.
Stealing my stuff over here.
I'm sorry. Another big game. Arsenal at West Ham. Arsenal look to keep the momentum rolling after their big win against Liverpool, cut that deficit, and also keep a struggling West Ham on the rebound.
Do we see a letdown? Maybe. Do you potentially see after a big win? Do you see that crash that a lot of teams sometimes do, where they get this big win, and then all of a sudden, just for some reason, all that energy that they put into that is just not there the next game?
I am going to caution myself because we got a little ahead of ourselves last week. And I will say this. We, because of what they have shown us last year, did not think Arsenal would win this game. Everything, if we continue that logic, even if they did win this game last year, they would automatically have dropped this game in some way.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to continue to be not the Arsenal of last year, then they win this game too, because they should. Like, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, it's no disrespect to Nottingham Forest, but they're right there in the relegation zone. They're right there fighting. And I know they're going to have some fight, but sometimes championship fight and teams falling trying to fight is not the same. It doesn't,
No.
that doesn't always work. So I know Nottingham Forest will be punchy. They've been punchy with big teams this year, but I just no. I think Arsenal are for real. I think they actually might be.
We'll see.
Yeah, no, we will this weekend.
We can talk about my game.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, you're not putting me second to last when this is.
I bolded you for a reason. I put you on bold for a reason.
Chelsea at Crystal Palace. I mean, if you ever needed a league game to rebound after playing Wolves, I mean, yeah, play Crystal Palace.
Please, dear God, just win. You looked insanely good against Aston Villa. The only thing that can make that sour is to just come out and look absolutely flat against Crystal Palace. I mean, hopefully maybe Chris Richards for Crystal Palace, the American, has a good game. But listen, just right the ship. Stop teeter-tottering between, oh my God, these guys look fantastic, and how are these players playing in the Premier League? They shouldn't be playing in the Championship. Just right the ship, get a nice, easy 2-1, 2-0, 3-1 win, and let's keep moving, please.
Where do you need to? I know you said a trophy, okay, but I want you to take the trophy aspect out of it, okay? I know the FA Cup is an important one. We like the FA Cup. We like the League Cup, even though I didn't realize they were the same thing just because
they're not, but I accidentally did that.
That's okay. Where do you need to finish in order for you to take some optimism into next year? You cannot tell me that if you finish in 11th, you're going to be like, okay, but we got the FA Cup, we'll be all right next year.
But like that, but I think that's the big issue is like, let's say we don't win any cup. Like we lose the League Cup against Liverpool final in a week or two.
Then at least be in grabbing distance of Europe.
I was gonna say, and then we get bounced out of the FA Cup. Give me like a couple points away from Conference League, which is like 6th, 7th place.
Okay.
But if we win a League Cup, or we win the FA Cup, I'm okay with a 9th or maybe like a 10th, because that shows that Pochettino, I think, has the right mindset of this league season doesn't matter.
What if you double?
If we double, like I said, as I said,
if you double, just don't get relegated at that point. You won't even care.
Just stay 8th, 9th, 10th. Stay there. Because, listen, if you win and Newcastle and Wolves lose, you're back up to 9th.
There you go. Stay mid.
Which I was going to say, but like I said, though, if you lose both, then the end of your season needs to be committed to getting as many points as possible. But like I said, if you win the FA Cup or if you win the Leagues Cup, you can tell that Pochettino has a vision of, I am going to get the most out of my players when it matters most. And that means that he understands that this league is unobtainable right now with the players that he has, but he is able to, when he has the right players, make a concerted run in a tournament or in a league. And that would make me a lot better. If we don't get any trophies and then we finish 11th, 12th, that shows that Pochettino might not be able to get enough out of these players to consider having him for a long stretch of time. But we still have some time. Like I said, when we were talking about when Arteta was finishing 7th or 8th, they beat us in the FA Cup final. And so you saw that there was a vision there and there was steps to his process. And as long as Pochettino can show that, I'm cool with it.
Understand. Mid O'Brien. O'Brien.
Listen, you're gonna lose next week and be the same place as me. It's fine.
Midi Drogba.
Come on, keep going. Put me on the spot here.
I don't know. Barkley.
That doesn't work at all.
Fatty Frank here there. I'll just hit you with a low.
yeah.
Fatty Frank. Love you, Frank Lampard.
I still have the fridge on my team.
Not at all. Okay, so we're good there. Yes. Oh no, there's one more. No, we're not. Yeah, we're good on you.
I mean, if you want to talk about your game,
forget you. One more to roll on, and that is mine. Manchester United at Aston Villa. Had Lisandro Martinez not been hurt, I would be fully confident, fully cocky, talking about United is back. Literally, the GIF or the reel that I sent you of the clip in The Hangover. We're back. We are back. We are back. Yes, that was 100% us. And then he got hurt. We will probably either run into a 2-2 draw or a 3-2 loss. This has everything just bad written all over it in our yo-yo of a season.
I mean, you will definitely, I think, have opportunity to score. Aston Villa, the past 2 games against us and Newcastle, just
we always do.
I would say even in general, Aston Villa's defense has looked shoddy the past couple weeks. However, yes, they only scored 1 on us and it was an added time, but Aston Villa had plenty of opportunity to score against us in the FA Cup. And so losing Lisandro Martinez, the defense, is going to be very tough. I agree with you. I think there's going to be multiple goals, but I think you definitely have an opportunity to squeak out a win on this one.
Harry Maguire. Oh, here we go.
The fridge.
Screw you. Yeah, and that completes your EPL preview as we jump into one of our last two segments, and that would be the biggest competition in the world.
Oh, I've missed this so much.
In the club world is on this week. As you see, Manchester City at FC Copenhagen, Real Madrid at RB Leipzig, and Real Sociedad at PSG, and Bayern Munich at Lazio. Strabo, we've got some good matchups, some not so good. Manchester City are going to be heavily favored to roll. Real Madrid will probably be a decent sized favorite to win as well. PSG will be a favorite, but do not sleep on this Real Sociedad team. And obviously, the Italians are typically great knockout stage teams, but Bayern Munich come to play.
So the best game of this, I think the easy answer is PSG versus Real Sociedad, just because I think Bayern, Madrid, and City are all heavy favorites. So obviously I think the PSG and Sociedad game I think is the most equal and be the most fun to watch for a neutral. However, I think the most fun answer, why not Copenhagen?
Oh, why not? Why not?
They looked not just against you, but they looked really capable in the group stage. They looked like they were able to take on any team.
Mm-hmm.
And with City noticeably a level down from years past.
This is not the same Manchester City team as last year. Literally, this is 12 months ago. This is not the same team. This is a team that is clearly hungover from winning a treble. That is a fact. Yeah, why not? I'd love it. Let's do it. They're gonna get that first game at home. Why not get that point now? And then you're gonna have to travel to the Etihad, an empty Etihad. But it is what it is. I like that.
Empty seats.
Yes, 30,000. Yes. Oh, I sent you. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I sent my brother the greatest clip in the world. I don't even know when the game is from, and that is a bunch of fans chanting at Manchester City. I'm gonna put you up while I slander your team. You run. What is it? You run the city. 30,000 seats. A lot of F words. More slander. Yeah. More slander. 3 letters.
As long as he doesn't get hurt again.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get hurt again. But I'm just saying, and you would have to even admit this, Sean, that this is not the same Manchester City team. This is a hungover team.
The depth is not there.
I'm pretty sure Jack Grealish is still drunk. But it is what it is. But they're gonna be, like I said, they're gonna be heavily favored. I like Real Sociedad to upset PSG because why not? Especially with all the rumors coming out of Kylian Mbappe and Real Madrid. To Madrid pretty much being a lock. Them doing what Barcelona do, which is cheat, go behind back channels and tell players to wait until free agents or to be a free agent and then sign with the team. Munich should roll on Lazio, honestly.
I like Lazio, but yeah.
So everybody take down City. I'm just playing.
We got better games the week after too.
Yes, and we will highlight those. I actually thought you put them in there, but that's okay that you didn't. We will highlight them the following week. Here I was going to try to pull them on the fly just so I could throw out some of the teams, but I don't remember the matchups. That's okay. Okay. Hold on. I'll do it. Here we go. Switch it out. Let's do it, baby. It is time for the thing that everybody waits for every week that they didn't get this week, but they're going to get it today on Footy Friday, and that is your Americans Abroad. Strabo, give them to us.
Go. All right, so we got a bunch of everything this week, if I'm being honest. We got debuts, we got assists, we got goals, we got some pretty fun stuff that we'll talk about at the end. But we'll start off with some debuts. Giovanni Reyna made his debut for Nottingham Forest in the 78th minute, and if I'm being honest, looked really promising in that 12-minute stretch. Looked like he was able to really kind of dice up the midfield a little bit. I know they were playing Bournemouth, and so it really wasn't a crazy challenge and a very physical thing, but it shows steps, and so I'm cautiously optimistic right now.
Put my hand up. I don't look smart right now about that one. I was
For
critical of
now,
it, but I just want to point out how everyone loved. Excuse me again. Many fines. I don't know how many I'm up to today. People were very, very optimistic at Christian Pulisic start at Chelsea, at Tyler Adams and Brandon Aronson start at Leeds.
please. Yeah.
I'm pumped. Here, I'll pump the brakes today. It was a very optimistic. It was very good to see. Just let's see what happens. I'm not rooting against Gio Reyna, okay, in any way. I'm just saying, my shirt's making me uncomfortable, and that's why my face looks like this, okay. But I'm rooting for you, Gio. I really am. I just wish you could have got our coach fired in a good way. But that's a different story. All right, keep going.
Yes, and the second debut, Nicolas Gioacchini. We talked about him going to
Gioacchini!
Como from St. Louis. He debuted today in the 80th minute in Como's 1-0 win. They are currently sitting second in Serie B, looking for promotion. And I didn't really get catch any of the game today because they don't show Serie B games on TV. However, it's always good to see, a new player from January come in the first couple of games, because that means that they trust him to get stuff done.
Absolutely.
I'm
a fan. I was a fan when they brought him up, and I watched him. It was Gold Cup. Dude, we play in so many fake cups sometimes. I remembered I messed them up. But when I think it was Gold Cup or Nations League, when I saw him when I really got to explore him on the national team level, I love this kid. I immediately would message Drew, him and Busio. I love these two. We need to tap into this. I told you, my Italian Americans. I love it. Let's go.
Yes. So yeah, those are for the debuts. We do have some assists though. First, like we talked about before, Anthony Robinson. He did have an assist in Fulham's game against Burnley, but like we said, a late collapse saw them only get a draw. But honestly, Anthony Robinson is looking absolutely fantastic, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got some rumored
big
summer. City
Liverpool
was asking about him last season.
Liverpool has been rumored to have been talking about them. Yes, a big move is on the horizon for Robinson. I just want him to get on the phone with Serginho Dest and ask him about that first, because an attacking-minded first wingback who is also American is going to get eaten alive the minute he has a bad game overseas.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, but we'll see there. Obviously, it has to go to the right situation. However, someone who did win today, Johnny Cardoso. We talked about him making his first appearance a couple weeks ago for Real Betis.
I mean, at this point, I think we talk about Cardoso more than we talk about
anybody else.
Yeah.
Well, this one is even better. His first assist and man of the match performance at Real Betis. This transition to the La Liga from the Brazilian league seems to be pretty seamless, and he is playing his butt off right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to become a mainstay in U.S. rosters because of how insane his play has been. It's kind of been, he's been making Greg Berhalter notice and making him so he cannot leave him off a roster.
The eye roll wasn't at you. The eye roll was that you could literally put it in front of Greg Berhalter and he still wouldn't watch it because he's too busy making sure his shoes matched. Whatever. No Berhalter love right now for this team. I want to throw it out there because you mentioned him real quick. Not just Cardoso. I lost it. Never mind. You said Greg Berhalter and it completely threw off my entire train of thought because it just made me completely angry. He wasn't the only one to have a great performance in man of the match, and I'm gonna let you go because I don't want to step on your toes, but go ahead.
We're getting there. He's a little down the list because he did a lot more than that, and you called it, so I'll let you do it. However, I want to bring up something before this. For the past couple years, we have had a very tough time finding a striker for this team. This week, we had 4 different strikers do something this week. I'm going to list them off for you. Jordan Pefok had an assist. Unfortunately, it was against Bayern Munich, and they lost 3-1. But that continues Pefok's, I think, 3-goal/assist streak going. So
And he
Pefok
listen,
doing really good.
a result in a losing way against Bayern Munich it happens. So I don't
Yes.
fault him there.
Yes. Haji Wright had a goal in Coventry's 4-1 against Sheffield United in the FA Cup. Their next opponent, Maidstone United, in the next round, like we talked about. So that'll be a very interesting match there. Josh Sargent got another goal as he beat Haji Wright's Coventry 2-1 in the championship. And just the other day, yesterday, Folarin Balogun, he converted a penalty in Monaco's game in the French League Cup. However, he did miss a penalty when the teams went to a penalty shootout, and they ultimately lost that game 6-5.
Tough to take two. Tough to take two in a game, man. Like that.
Yeah.
And we know that as former players. That is one of the most awful things to have to do because now the whole thought of, well, you're in control, which no, you're not. No, you're not. You're no one's in control in that situation. So there, I am unapologetically the biggest Josh Sargent guy on this podcast. We know that. I also do love me some Haji Wright, and so I love Florian. It's been a difficult season there, but it's okay. Glad to see him back on the score sheet as we get rolling, as we get closer to March.
Yes, and like I said, 4 different strikers scoring. Ricardo Pepi, not scoring, but even when he gets to the U.S. team, always seems to have a different switch and score and do good things on the national team. So a very big surplus of striker talent right now going into some very big tournaments these next couple months.
Absolutely. Hi, Mama. Thanks for rocking back in with us. You shouldn't be here technically because we shouldn't still be talking, but as always, we're still talking.
Of course. All right. So now we have 2 man of the match performances. I will let you take one and I will take the other.
I just want to say his name, Luca De La Torre. Welcome back to the Straub Bros Sports Show. Welcome back to the Americans Abroad Settlement. He had a phenomenal match, but I do not have anything in front of me because I threw all that away to just freestyle the rest of Americans Abroad. So I literally don't have what I wrote down, but give me the stats, please.
Yes, a man of the match performance. He grabbed an assist and a goal within 1 minute of each other.
Yes.
Absolute great game, 3-1 win. And like I said previously when he was last on here, basically not single-handedly, but almost single-handedly keeping Celta de Vigo above relegation right now.
Love him there. He's becoming a fixture on the team. He's becoming a mainstay. And now that Tyler Adams is trying to get in form.
Sorry.
I know. I gotta put it up there. I gotta put it up there. Now that Tyler Adams has been injured and is not back in form yet. Weston McKennie has played very well, but has dips in form. Jonas Musa has not, been over. He's not actually been as good at AC Milan as he was at Valencia. There is a possibility here that Luca and Cardozo force their way into this midfield and force their way into the team because they're playing so damn well. Other guys like Malik Tillman, Gio Reyna, their names here. They're going to be just because we have given you some names and you've heard on the telly some names. Yes, I just used that. You've heard just McKennie and Pulisic and Reyna, and Musa. That doesn't mean that these other guys couldn't be starters in World Cup games. That's just how it goes. It's all about who performs. I do not care as long as you put on these colors and you whoop butt. Okay.
No, I completely
and who's the other one?
Yes. So we have a 20-year-old who has played for the U.S., but has also been in talks with Mexico about a potential switch, but nothing has been confirmed yet. This is just kind of, I think, honestly, this is a power play for him to kind of get more minutes with the U.S. Cade Cowell had an absolutely insane game yesterday.
Yeah.
2 goals, an assist, and a man-of-the-match performance. Like I said, he is 20 years old, and this was his 5th game for his new club, Chivas. Dude absolutely killed it yesterday. And I want to point out, this was in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is basically the Champions League for North America. So if you want to watch him Alejandro Zendejas in Club America is in that as well as a bunch of MLS teams before their MLS season starts. Those are games during the middle of the week that if you want to check out, you can check out those as well. But Cade Cowell, absolutely ridiculous performance yesterday. Unheard of for a 20-year-old.
Listen, we had not yet made a FIFA reference. So I will make my first FIFA reference at an hour and 34 minutes in the podcast. And what did I always tell you when we would start one of these careers with one of these small teams? Cade was always the first guy I bought because, yes, I love him. And I would love for him to get some national team call-ups. Greg, stop losing talent. I know he hasn't lost any yet, but stop. Don't even let it happen. Okay. Yeah. And is it time for the fun part of this, American? Is it time? Okay. The best story we have saved for last. I think the story that fits this podcast the best, and that is we had a battle of brothers happen this past week, and that would be Taylor and little brother
Zach Booth.
Zach Booth.
I don't even want to talk about this because I know what you're gonna do.
You have to, because I told you I got rid of my details, so you literally have no choice but to talk about this. I know. What happened was, little bro scored first, and it was amazing, and everyone was happy, and mom and dad were in love, and they probably had their split jersey and all of that, and it was great, and it was great to see little bro show himself and show his talent and show his hard work. And then big bros do what big bros do. And that would
steal the spotlight.
Steal the spotlight. And that would be Mr. Taylor Booth, who scored a hat trick over top of his brother as his team would win 4-2. Please go check out the Straub Bros Sports Show. You will clearly see which brother sent out the tweet about this game. Spoiler alert, it wasn't me.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was a great, and we love to see it regardless. Yeah, like
first of all, we love that both guys are scoring and both guys are playing, but he absolutely would rather have been switched and little 100%. Brother have shined.
Yeah, but hey, honestly though, I love it. Just because Zach is the younger brother is finally getting some starts with this Eredivisie squad in Volendam, and so getting a goal cements that. But also with Taylor Booth, ever since his injury, he really hasn't done a lot this season. So him scoring a hat trick, and if you look up a video, the fans serenading him after getting the match ball, he definitely needed that, especially as a young kid starting at a club.
Makes you kiss the badge.
So, and also, we talked about Taylor Booth in our original first podcast about being a potential player to come in. He was hurt at the time. But seeing him come in and get that boost of morale that he is going to need is huge, especially coming into, like I said, a massive March and then a massive June coming in with Nations League, Copa America, and the Olympics coming up. It's a massive boost and something that I think we are definitely going to see more of as we come and see. So unfair result. I think, Big Brother always has to steal the spotlight. Never, let the big brother or let the little brother get too much of the spotlight, get too big of a head. But a great game nonetheless.
Absolutely. I mean, come on. There's no better way to punctuate the podcast than the story about the two brothers. Yeah. Ladies and gents and everybody else, thank you for rocking with us on the first edition of Friday Footy from the Straub Bros Sports Show. We appreciate it, and I'll bring this back because I'm not going to let you just have that Chelsea garbage on by yourself. We absolutely appreciate you rocking with us, letting us kind of get really super nerdy and in depth with the soccer talk. It was amazing. Landon almost crashed the entire pod from over top because your nephew is not about to be told no right now.
He's a Straub.
Yep. Absolutely. He wants to talk. He always wants to talk. We will get him on here eventually to name all of his favorite Paw Patrol characters. We'll have him rank them, honestly.
That'll be our most popular episode, honestly.
Absolutely. But yes, once again, thank you for rocking with us today. As always, I have to bring it back because we all do it together. And that is the 216 Sports Network, 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth, the Jay Rich Show, the Rulers Minute with Rico McGree, Outside Interference, and us, the Straub Bro Sports Show. Big Bro taking the shine from Little Bro and taking his one goal and turning it into a hat trick. I love you. I'm sorry. Yeah. Anything to throw out to the people? Plenty to throw out to the people. Make sure you're rocking with us every Thursday at 5:15 because somebody has to have a class that got pushed back. So it's not 5 o'clock anymore, but you know that by now. 5:15 is our time. We'll see you every Thursday to talk. This week, there may be a change. No, we're going to go Thursday. We're going to go Thursday for our Super Bowl review. We will tell you everything that happened on the big game, and we will lament how many of my parlays did not hit. If you do not see me on the podcast on Thursday, that is because everything hit, and yeah, I'm out of here. No, $2 only goes so far. But yes, the Straub Bros Sports Show. You can find us on Twitter at Straub Bros Sports. You can find us on TikTok at the SBSS Straub Bros Sports Show, and you can find us on Spotify. Just search the Straub Bros Sports Show, and you'll see that beautiful logo pop up, and you'll find us there. All 27 episodes are currently on the Spotify. This one will literally be up within an hour. So at some point, you might be listening to me tell you about listening to me in the future while you listen to me in the future.
Wow.
Yeah, this is why we don't do Friday pods this late. So for little bro, I am Big Bro. Thank you for rocking with us on Football Friday. And remember to, as always, love yours.
Stay safe, everybody.
City.